this regular council meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. Mr. Mead, would you lead us in the pledge, please? If you'd remain standing for just a minute, please. I'd like to open tonight's prayer with a sincere happy Thanksgiving to all present and those that may be listening to this at a later date. I myself have so much to be thankful for: a loving family, a successful business, a chance to serve the residents of this city, and a fine extended family here within the administration and our city employees. I'm reminded every year in Luke 12:35 that throughout Thanksgiving and this whole holiday season, it's best to keep Luke's words in mind for the true meaning. To whomever much is given, of him much will be required, and to whom much is entrusted, of him more will be asked. So, Lord, we ask that you watch over us and guide us this evening and throughout this giving season, and we ask for this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Kathy, roll call, please.
Fox,
Present.
Hayes. Yes. Barstow,
Here.
Lee,
Here.
Picken,
Here.
Walter,
Here.
Carter. Here.
Okay, we have a quorum present. And,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add an item on the third page of our agenda under D, Other. I would like to make a motion to add discussion on representation on the Southwest Licking Sewer and Water District. That's good enough.
Okay, I have a motion.
I'll second.
I need a second. Seconded by Mrs. Carter. And this is to continue with our application process for the Southwest Licking Sewer and Water applicants. Okay, very good. Any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor, where was that going to go?
That would
That's going to
essen-
go, I'm sorry.
I was going to say that would essentially become E after Other, D,
Yeah, right before Ohio Division of Liquor Control Permit.
either before or after. I don't think it matters.
It's on your second page,
got
close to
Third page.
additional citizens' comments.
Okay.
Okay? Any
Thanks.
other discussion? And roll, please.
Fox,
Abstain.
Hayes. Yes. Barstow,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Picken,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Carter. Yes.
Okay, motion passes and the agenda has been amended. Next, we go to citizens' comments, and we have something that very special tonight. Mrs. Carter is going to take over from this point. She has a little presentation, and was very delighted to get a phone call from her this week with something that we have a student here in Licking Heights that wants to present to the city.
This is Emily Hale. Emily is a freshman at Licking Heights High School. She's here with her mom and dad, Deanne and Darren. I'm trying to get out of the picture. But you know, in my other life, I'm a Licking Heights person, and that's where I spend my days. And so, in my role, I hold access to one of the only color printers in the high school. So when the art teacher asks you to print something, I was surprised when I saw this come out because it was such a great picture. And then my second thought was, the mayor would love that picture. So I reached out to Emily and asked her if she would be willing to give a copy of it to the mayor to grace somewhere in the city building. So we very much like it there.
Mel, can you bring the parents
Well, I've been working with Jessica.
Can you get
Asher
everybody
to get
lined
some
up?
Nice pictures of the city.
It's beautiful.
Want me to get one with your phone? Oh, you're welcome. First of all, hi. How are you? Nice to meet you.
You can take mine from the post when they're done.
I've been wanting to get the city hall spruced up a little bit. This will be very nice. That's a gorgeous picture. Taking a picture of the picture. Very nice. Thank you so much. That is gorgeous.
going crazy tonight. Go ahead. You want to see that?
No. We all groan.
I will share.
John Deere.
Well, that was a first for my time on council, and as mayor, thank you very much. And you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting if you don't want to.
We won't torture you.
Yeah, we won't torture you there, okay? All right, moving on. Thank you again, Mrs. Carter, for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, folks. Citizens' comments. Anybody wish to speak tonight? Okay, seeing none, introduction, discussion, and approval of consent agenda matters.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Mr. Fox and seconded by Mr. Barstow. Any discussion? I'm sorry, roll first. Oh,
Any discussions, right?
any discussion?
You were right. We threw
Okay,
him off his game.
now you can roll, I'm sorry.
Hayes,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Fox.
Yes.
Very good. Consent agenda passes. I'm still excited about the picture, so. Okay, settle down here. Okay, on to ordinance 2016-4270 for a third reading.
So moved?
Moved by Mr. Hicken and seconded by Mr. Fox. Kathy, when you're ready, third reading.
Ordinance 2016-4270. This is the third reading, an ordinance to rezone property located at 7,000 Creek Road, parcel number 064068808-02.000, totaling 4.3 acres in the city of Pataskla from the current zoning agricultural AG to medium-density residential R20 zoning classification.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 2016-4270.
Got a
Second.
motion by Mr. Fox and seconded by Mr. Barstow. Discussion and roll.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 4270 passes. Ordinance 4271 for a third reading.
So moved?
Moved by
Second.
Mr. Hicken and seconded by Mr. Fox. Kathy, when you're ready, third reading.
ordinance 2016-4271. This is the third reading, an ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Pataskla, state of Ohio, during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2017, and to authorize approved interfund transfers.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir?
I'd like to make a motion to amend ordinance 2016-4271 by substitution.
Got a motion to amend?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Barstow. Discussion on the motion to amend. Yes, sir.
And the Exhibit A is the exhibit, this is a dumb question, but that's the only one that's not asked. The Exhibit A is the Exhibit A that's on our council desk, correct? It's referred to in Exhibit A is the Exhibit A that's sitting on our council desk? 71, excuse me.
71.
There was one.
That's the one that's on our desk.
Okay, I just meant,
Yep.
that's what I thought, but I would hate to approve, some other city's budget.
Right. Okay, any other discussion on the motion?
I would just like
Go ahead.
to thank Jamie for putting his little cheat sheet together on it. That was helpful, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, echo. And also, again, kudos to all the department heads and the administration who worked very hard to get us to approving a budget on, hopefully, on November 21st.
Isn't that cool? There's some more history made. All right, we need a roll on the motion to amend.
Mayor.
I'm sorry, okay.
I only had one other quick question, and I do appreciate the cheat sheet and everything, but there was one item that I thought we had discussed additionally was the, from the police fund, the utility vehicle, that we had talked about that potentially being removed from the budget also. So I was going through my notes through that, so.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I've had discussions with a resident, a family of a resident that recently passed away, and they wanted to do something for the police department because over the last number of years, it's been a real difficult time for the family with Alzheimer's and things, and they helped. the police department just went way out of their way, many, many, many times for them. And they are in the process of considering donating a vehicle to the police chief's specifications on that. So I would suggest that we leave it there for now and just see what happens after the fact with that. I'll get Chief Brooks the information tomorrow on it and get the individual the specifications, and then I'll just kind of let them take it from there. But it sounds like they're really interested in doing something, and we actually could have had two. They had two of them that were fairly new because they got stolen a few years ago, but nobody thought about it, and they just got rid of them. So they would have given them to them, and those would have been pretty nice ones that were well taken care of. But anyway, so they're going to work with a retailer that and through the chief, and so I would just suggest that if we could keep it in there for now, it will come back
Yeah, it's coming back to council anyway.
to council because the amount.
You would have to come back for approval ultimately.
Just leave it in and, yes, sir.
So I have one additional question. I saw the estimate for the Kubota. I think it was Kubota, correct?
Gravely.
Was it Gravely? Okay.
Well, both, I'm sorry.
I thought they had both of them. Okay. On that, the only question is, and I see the sheriff's vehicle. With the estimate, I didn't see any of the graphic arts or the special lighting packages. Would you have any idea what those cost
About $1,000.
in total?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this was just a reference so you folks could see what we were looking at as opposed to a Gator-type vehicle. This is more what we were looking for, and just wanted you to have a reference, so.
Okay, one more.
Yes, sir.
So, Chief, the other question I have is, how do you plan on, is this something you're going to drive on the street? Is it something that's going to be trailered? Do you have any idea how you're going to transport this around?
They do actually go the speed limit. However, we wouldn't do that as a practice. If we were, for instance, maybe going out to Taylor Road, we would probably trailer it.
Okay, so I would make one comment to Alan. We do have a good trailer that could be used for that. So just before we sell it, maybe we keep that one.
A little bartering, yeah.
You can buy it from us.
Might keep that one. So anyhow, just thought I'd mention it.
It's for sale, Chief.
Very good. Great, okay. Anything else? All right, did we call the roll for amending the motion?
No.
Okay, so we need the roll for the amending the motion, or a motion to amend. We need a roll on that, please.
Walther,
Yes?
Carter,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Okay, motion to amend passes. Back to the original ordinance.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir?
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 2016-4271.
Motion by Mr. Hicken,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Fox. Any more discussion? And roll.
Carter,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Ordinance 2016-4271 passes, and congratulations to every person involved who took the time to come to the meetings. Jamie for making sure everybody had all the information. This truly is, a first, and I thought we did first a couple years ago when we accelerated it and got stuff done, and it used to be always last minute. Sometimes we didn't know if we were going to be here on Christmas Eve type of stuff, but thank you so much for all your work. Very good. Very good. All right. Ordinance 2016-4272 for a third reading.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Carter.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Barstow. Kathy, when you're ready, third reading.
Ordinance 2016-4272, this is the third reading, and ordinance amending ordinance 2015-4244, establishing the allocation of income tax collections received by the city of Pataskil pursuant to ordinance 2010-3959.
Any discussion? And roll, please.
Actually, we have
Point of order.
Need a
We-
motion.
point
Oh,
of order,
okay.
we need a
Motion to adopt,
motion
please.
to adopt.
Motion to
ordinance
adopt by Mr. Fox.
2016-4272.
Seconded by
Second.
Mr. Barstow. Kathy, when you're ready.
Hayes,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes?
Walter,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Ordinance 2016-4273 for a third reading.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Barstow.
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Fox. Kathy, when you're ready.
ordinance 2016-4273. This is the third reading. An ordinance to make supplemental appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2016.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to amend ordinance 2016-4273 by substitution.
Got a motion by Mr.
Second.
Barstow, seconded by Mr. Fox. It's a motion to amend. Any discussion? Kathy, when you're ready.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Motion to amend passes. Back to the ordinance.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 2016-4273 as amended.
Motion to
Second.
adopt by Mr. Barstow, seconded by Mr. Fox. Any discussion? And roll.
Hicken,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes. 4273 passes. On to reports. Had a great Veterans Day celebration. Thanks to Mr. Hicken, Mrs. Carter, and Mr. Barstow for attending and making it a special day. I know Mr. Fox wanted to be there and had some, his brother-in-law was not feeling well, so I do appreciate the effort. Was at the last council meeting, did I give you an update on the West Licking Firefighters Association meeting with Mrs.? Okay, I didn't think I had, but want to thank Alan and BJ and Mrs. Hayes. We met November 3rd with the West Licking Firefighters Association to bring to their attention the what went right, what went wrongs at the street fair, knowing that we had done such a big project on Main Street with the electricity and the water and all that good stuff, and plus to open up some communication between the residents, since they do put up with the street fair and have for many, many years. So I thought we got off to a great start. We had a really good meeting, and one of the proposals, along with Mrs. Hayes's input, was to have a community meeting as we get closer to the street fair to address those issues with those folks, and again, just invite them for their input, whether one shows up or 100 show up. At least they'll know that they're being invited to attend and give their input on the street fair. So we'll probably do that sometime as we, obviously in the summer, June or July-ish before the street fair comes, and we're thinking about maybe having it, an easy spot would be the Sterling Theater, since that would be close to everybody involved. So we're working on that. Was invited and went to, with some of the other folks from the city, including Dr. Walther, to the Watkins Memorial. The kids were working on a park plan, the same class that came in here and talked about what we were going to do with the old town hall. They did a presentation on Liberty Park, and it was off the charts on what some of these kids were proposing, and of course some great ideas, zip lines and all that good stuff. And there were, I think, 10 or 12 presentations, and that's all been given to Ann, and I'm sure some of that stuff will filter in, and some of it, I don't know if we need I don't know. I'd get on a zip line, but
With your picture.
with my picture, yeah. So, yeah, with my picture, yeah.
Clutch it.
Very nice. So that was fun. It was a great program. Those kids, the creativity that's in those classes. I think that was 7th grade. It's unbelievable what those kids are into, and of course the technology. They showed us a 3D in motion of what this park would look like, and it was amazing. So good stuff from our schools. Had our CIC breakfast this morning here at. We always host one, and had a full house, and I'd say it was a very good meeting. Wouldn't you, BJ?
Very good meeting.
Yep. Okay. Explore Licking County. I passed these out earlier in the year, and you can still pick some up if you want to, but, they've totally revamped. We have a young lady, Jude Hampshire, who is our liaison between Explore Licking County, which used to be the Licking County Convention Bureau. It was a real stale type name that they had, but anyway, these folks, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but they won an award for this year for its direct mail piece, which was the book I just showed you, for its blog, The Perfect Tree, and its social media campaign. Just another way to put Licking County on the map, and of course we were featured in here with the Sterling Theater. And each year they take something in your city or your village or your township and expand on it. I don't know what they're going to pick this year, but the Sterling Theater was in there, so congratulations to them. Had a ribbon cutting downtown at the little resale shop. The Catalonas have opened their second business here in town. They have the Catalona Auto Repair, and quite entrepreneurial, and opened up a little resale shop and for families and kids and expectant mothers and stuff like that. So it's nice down there by the barber shop down on Main Street. So that was very good. I just can't wait any longer. Alan, thank you so much for your work on Broad and Mink. It looks beautiful. So with that being said, Mrs. Carter, you're up.
The only thing I wanted to mention, and you touched on it already, was the Veterans Day ceremony. It was freezing, but I got the different kind of goosebumps whenever I hear the taps played. So that was a really nice ceremony, and I appreciate Ray coming out with the weather and the wind. And Mr. Barstow got to see me giving my little man the mom eye because he was acting foolish when everybody was supposed to be quiet. So, but no, that's all I had.
All right. Mr. Zetz.
Nothing tonight.
Okay. Mr. King.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple items. First of all, I want to thank all the department heads and also council for working on the budget. I'm excited that we were able to accomplish it like this. I know we modified the budget schedule after it was previously adopted to try to expedite, and this has been a really good process. And, so thank you to everybody. Thank you to the staff. Thank you, Jamie, council, everybody. Look forward to it. The only other thing I have is just want to mention that Alan and I and our public service supervisor had a chance to meet with both school districts, as we typically do prior to snowfall, to coordinate, let them know what we're going to be doing with snow removal, make sure everybody has everybody's telephone numbers, so we can coordinate those efforts, and that went well. And, I feel that over the last several years, the Public Service Department has got extremely good at plowing snow, removing snow, salting, and I don't have any concerns. So the meeting was well received, and happy to answer any questions. And Alan is smiling at me because I made some decisions that they may not have agreed with as far as what time we're going to get out, but we're always trying to improve. So happy to answer any questions council may have.
Anything for BJ? All right, we got plenty of salt then, right?
We have plenty of salt.
All right. Mr. Nicholson.
Well, now that we have the budget, now we focus on the end of the year and starting reporting, and the cycle starts again. We have, last week was the cutoff for most departments' purchase orders. Obviously, that it's still open if they need, like, Nate had an emergency situation today that he called me about. We leave that open just in the nature of emergency purchases, but generally speaking, we're shutting that process down. The departments will be done basically by mid-December, which gives us time to get all the invoices in and kind of get things cleaned up for year end. And that's been really helpful. Everybody seems to, follow along pretty well on that. We are going to have our open enrollment for health insurance during the month of November, or month of December. We've got a meeting scheduled for all employees. It's an optional meeting if they want to come in and learn about the plan. Not much has changed other than the deductibles and those types of things, but the benefits have remained the same. So gives them employees an opportunity to come in and ask their questions of our broker and the other parties as well. And then been working on the fund that is the Affordable Care Act reporting for all employees, and that's a lot of work because we have to provide 1095s to every employee that indicate, all the dependents, the months that they had coverage, and all of that. So it's a lot of information. I think we have to have it out by mid-January this year. It's a lot, but we'll get it done. So that's all I have.
Anything for Jamie? Very good.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes, sir. Thank you. We are wrapping up some of our, projects for the rest of the year. River Forest, we finally got that. All the paperwork and property acquisitions completed. It'll be out to bid next week and hopefully secure a successful bidder before the end of the year. That one took a little longer than we liked, but it's going to be a really fast project once we actually start, and of course, cold weather or not, we should be able to do this without a whole lot of hesitation. With that being said, I wanted to let you know last week the weather was beautiful, so we got in one more round of land application of our product, and this year is our first full year of getting that out to the fields, and we moved over 850 tons of material, which was spread over roughly 200 acres of land. So even on a small scale, I like to think that we're doing our part to kind of, give a benefit to the farmers that otherwise would have been commercially bought fertilizer. And I appreciate your support of that sludge building that we built, finished it early this year. Really the savings, I went through and calculated out like Mitch's time to move and do some of the application. We're saving like $67,000 a year compared to what we used to do. So it's exciting to me. We're saving money. We're also finding a way to be excellent stewards here in the area with the goal that there's some other folks that are interested in our product too. I'm afraid that we're going to get to a point to where we don't have enough for everybody that's interested. So that's one of the successes that I'll point to as we work together in these budget phases and keeping you guys abreast to some of our goals and plans. And behind it, there really is a plan not only to save money, but kind of do things the right way, the best way. So I think we end the year on a great note from that standpoint, at least from the utility department. I always say the water's flowing every way it should. It's clean and drinkable on one end, and the fish like it on the other. So we're doing our part and appreciate it.
Yeah, bravo on that whole program.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
Anything for Nate?
I have a quick question, Nathan. I had a couple of people that live in the old village ask me a question. Some of them, especially in the Brightwater subdivision, assume that every time they see a dump truck, it's carrying product.
Oh.
So roughly how many times do you take product?
I think we had 8 events this year, 8 land
Movements?
application events.
8 movements, is that what you call them?
8 movements.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I would say probably for each event, probably anywhere from 12 to 18 dump truck loads. Since it's that tandem axle truck, it's not like a loud, semi truck rolling through. So one of the reasons we have one of the old street department Omaha orange dump trucks.
Right.
And one of the very reasons we haven't put an emblem on it is just because if people do call in, it's the easy one to point out, the orange one without the emblem right now. So if people do notice it. But dump trucks traveling through Brightwaters might also be our smaller one on dig jobs. We have our spoil site back there. And
Right.
most of the time I would say it's dirt.
Thank you.
Anything else for Nate? Okay. Mr. Haynes.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for the compliments on Macon Broad. I know there for about a week. It was difficult situation, but we took advantage of the weather while we could and got all but a tiny amount of the paving done and got the striping pretty much complete as well. So that worked out pretty well. We're looking at what we can do with the operation of the signal. We won't get the mast arms in for until we get the property acquired there on the corner. But in the meantime, we're looking to see if we can get some 5-section heads up there so that the left turn movement will have a protected phase as it's designed, and get the radar potentially in place to operate, since there's no loop detectors out there to detect cars. So waiting on a proposal from the contractor to see what can be done and how much that'll cost for us to get that done as a temporary solution. I mean, it is functioning now in just recall mode, but see if we can make it a little better. Only other thing I have is on Main Street. We've made some recent strides with AEP. We're going to have a meeting, looks like December 15th is what we're shooting for, with the residents and AEP to review the easements. They'll have some exhibits and some revised easements on site there. So hopefully the changes we've made will go a long way with the residents to get things moving forward on that project again. Aside from that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I just want to say that Mink and Broad looks great. I mean, I go through there every day. I know a lot of folks do. And thanks for BJ and Alan for trying to. On the first morning, there was pretty bad backup there. It was backed up to almost out in front of Mr. Fox's house. And I think that was just. I don't think maybe the flaggers realized how much traffic was coming through there. So by the second day, it was much improved. And now, of course, it's fantastic. It's really helped. And that's the good news. The bad news is what's shaking with the now
With the house.
the house.
There's, I've received no contact. I actually followed up with the nephew today, about the third time.
Has
not
anybody
heard anything.
contacted the court, the probate court over in Newark, and asked them if guardianship has been opened? That's
I
public
have not, but
knowledge.
I'll do that.
If you get rebuffed, let me know. I'll poke my nose in there myself.
I may-
and see what's going on.
I may take you up on that after.
Yeah, and maybe contact whoever the guardian is and crack the whip.
That's great.
Okay.
Good
All right.
advice.
Thanks.
Great idea.
Alan, question for you. The work that had been done, kind of rushed to be done while we had good weather, and I know this was a decision that was made before you were here. Can you tell us, the work that was done irregardless of the house? And seeing your note up here in budget that we're slightly over budget is because we're paying some change order. We're utilizing what we were non-performing to pay for up costs in materials and, I guess, mobilization, I would assume.
Yes, a decent part of that, though, is where the email that I sent last week, where we had two 2,000-foot sections, so 4,000 feet of total would have been cuts where they were widening on both sides, and that would have left an exposed joint there, which would have been crack sealed, but if you remember, like down here on 310 in front of Emsweiler Way, that would pothole and start to break up, as I'm sure you're well aware, in a very short period of time. So we worked with the contractor to mill the entire systems of the existing road and pave the entire new surface to protect that and also make it look better as well. So that is eaten into some of that cost as well.
Okay. The decision to hold them off until the house was purchased, essentially, until we could finish that intersection. The question I guess I have is, was that a contractor-driven? Did they come and volunteer to wait until, I've been in situations where contractors say, I'd rather do all of it than 75%. If we're paying an upcharge for them to do exactly what they would have done 10 months ago, whenever they pulled off the project, I'd certainly like for you to look into that.
There's another item there that wasn't accounted for. We know that the easement there on the northeast corner wasn't obtained, but utility relocation
movement.
had not occurred either. So on the south side, we couldn't do the work that we just did until all the poles
So
on the south
going
side
into
were
that,
relocated.
I've run into this before with different municipal agencies. If those were in the right of way and the utilities didn't move, they're responsible for the damages. So if you just take a quick look at that, if they didn't meet the schedule that they had obligated to,
I will look into that, but I don't, from my understanding, I don't believe that was negligence of the utilities.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll certainly talk to Brian about that too.
okay. And then but other than that, the road looks great. Really.
Good to hear.
Yeah, I've got a second question on
Okay,
Main
go
Street
ahead.
budget. You know, you're showing a note here that for the funding change for number one, you'd assume that was in the project, but now it's not. When you say slightly over, what are we talking slightly?
It's looking like right now, obviously, there's a lot of work left to be done, but it looks like plus or minus 30,000 over. And that was, that first change order was done before I was here. Was in roughly just under $200,000 addition to the budget.
This was the AEP change order?
Yeah, all the electrical work, and I assumed that had already been added to the budget with a PO and approval for that, but that had not happened. So I was assuming that was in there and based my projections off that number, which now is that money's not there.
Okay.
Mr. Fox, and then Mrs. Carter.
I would like to thank you for getting the trees down on the viaduct. A lot of them were ash trees. In fact, I think all of them were probably ash trees.
Good amount.
And they were getting pretty, they probably wouldn't have made it this weekend. So they got them down. And appreciate the other one close to the end of my property there and next door's property that's out because that was in just as bad a shape. So thanks for getting that done. Also, I want to thank you. I know that that the city was in a pretty bad predicament on the whole thing on Mink Street and even a lot on Main Street over the issue that we had early on with the person that was supposed to be taking care of that for us. Nobody in this room, and the gentleman's no longer with us, but and there was a big mess, but things are really looking good. People are really happy with Mink. I mean, they're like, wow, you know, so I appreciate it, and it was a good job, and I'm glad it's done, and I hope we can get that corner figured out.
Mrs. Carter?
Actually, Mr. Fox just touched on what I was wondering, and when this all started to come to surface, when we were contracting our engineering, we were looking to get some reimbursement for damages from the engineer that had been contracted at that point. Is that something that's still being looked at on the table?
is.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing I just want to say, and to follow up, but, tremendous kudos to Alan, because he came on board and from day one had fires to put out. And he has done a tremendous job. So, I just can't thank him enough for being able to come in and.
I'd say bonfires, actually.
Right. I mean, just he really took the bull by the horns and did a great job.
Yep. Very good. Anything else for Alan? Mr. Fulton?
Sir, one thing from my report I wanted to highlight, on the 10th, I met with Horn and King Architects in regards to the new police station. So I've been working with them to address the police station, what they're looking to do from a planning and zoning standpoint. So we're moving on from there. Also, one thing that was not on my report is, as you know, since I started, we've been looking to have an accurate zoning map. And up until last week, we thought we had it, and then on Friday, we found another error. So Zach has corrected that error. So fingers crossed, barring any unforeseen circumstances, we should have an accurate zoning map for review by council at the December 5th council meeting. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, sir.
One thing during the development committee meeting I forgot to ask, follow up to the Chicago trip. I know when you were giving us your report, there were a lot of kind of follow-up stuff that you were going to look into, or somebody was going to look into. I don't know if it was necessarily you, Scott, or not. Has anybody followed up on that? Have you heard anything further on that?
I've had discussions. Unfortunately, I don't have the information with me to go into in detail, but I'd be happy to get that to you if
Great.
you're interested.
Yeah, I think that'd be worthwhile knowing. That seemed like a very good conference.
I guess I would make a request that all council get that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything else for Scott? You have anything else, Scott?
No, sir.
Okay. Badge number 14, Bruce Brooks.
Thank you, Mayor. Were you going to talk about the cookie walk or anything, or that's the only thing I had?
Oh, okay, you go right ahead.
December 3rd, starting at 3:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. There's going to be a cookie walk through the old village. Just please watch out for cars and things. And then afterwards, starting at 8 p.m., there's a parade that starts at the old village market, which is Washington Hardware, and it'll go up Main Street. So again, just please have a good time and beware of people out in the roadway.
Actually, be 3:30 to 5:30 on the cookie walk.
Okay.
Parade will start at 6, and then people will still be congregating downtown because of Santa at Veterans Green, so there will still be activity.
And there'll be a movie and singing from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Sterling Theater.
Yes.
Chief, last year when I was at the parade, and we're all lined up along the edge of the street, just, like any other parade, only it's dark. And there were cars flying through there up to the last minute. Are we going to block that off a little bit earlier? Because I saw little kids, I was cringing. I thought, it's just going to take one. Okay.
It will definitely make sure that happens.
Yeah, I think between the officers and the Citizens Police Academy alumni who have volunteered, the crosswalks will be attended to, and making sure nobody comes up 310 and tries to get through like last year. So
Good.
Yep, very good. Anything else for Bruce? Any committee chair reports?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I attended a Ohio Community Wildlife Cooperative. Did you go with me one time, Mr. Mayor, to that?
You, me, and Bernie went several
That's right.
times. Yep.
Yes, we went a number of times.
Yep.
It's interesting in that this whole thing is based on the issues that municipalities and cities and towns have with wildlife. So, you go and they have different things that have worked and not worked. I can tell you that ours works better than anybody's, and it's cheaper than anybody's. And that is the fact that we have the discharge and non-discharge zone in the city of Pataskala. Therefore, we can hunt in the city of Pataskala. We've had very few problems in the past with it. It seems to work well for us. It works well for a lot of other communities, but we have done it for quite some time now. We have surrounding communities. Newark does it. Gahanna does it. I don't know if New Albany does it or not, but I know that Granville does it. And they have deer hunts with bow and things like that. It works good. Some of the things that they brought up were the different conflicts. One of the big things is that conflicts are often real or perceived. They're not, they could be real, but most of them are perceived. So PR is a big thing. We do have some real ones where we have people coming up from Pataskala Ridge and places like that abut farmlands in the back, and their dogs get taken or cats are disappearing, and that's just a fact of life of living where we are. But I can tell you in the past when that happens, the hunters typically get on that area because they know that that's what they strive to do, and they get out there. Coyotes are a big conflict throughout all of western Licking County, and this guy just happened to be a Ohio State University Extension professor, and he was studying the problems with urban coyotes in Chicago. 6-story parking garage, and they decided on the 6th story they were going to have trees. So they put these trees in. Where they put the trees in, there's a vacant spot underneath. So now they have coyotes denning there. And they do not use lethal means. This guy's whole thing was, we don't use any lethal means whatsoever. I asked about what kind of money it cost, and his honest to God, he said lots. We have some of these small cities that are spending $350,000 a year on management programs for deer and wildlife in their communities. It's unbelievable. There was a guy in there about nuisance wildlife, which we have a number of nuisance trappers around here. If you have a pond or whatever that you can see from the road, they knock on your door all the time. Can we trap and can we do things? And we have them all over at a lot of the farms doing that. Goose management. We have a lot of geese around. Thankfully, we don't have very many geese on any of the park ponds, I don't believe, do we? but they become a real problem. Places like this where they put a little retention pond out front that's a wet pond, a lot of times we'll get resident geese that will stay all year round. They poop everywhere, they're a mess. There are different ways of getting rid of those. But the one that really got my blood going, and yes, I did, Mr. Mayor, say, "Are you shitting me?" Right in the middle of it is a deer sterilization program. Clifton, Ohio. And the guy actually called the deers Bambis. That was where my comment came from. And he said, in the little Bambis. So last year they started it. They went out and they shot with darts 47 deer. 2 of them actually died in the process. 3 of them were button bucks. And they did 41. Ultimately, is what they did. They take them in a building, they sedate them, they cut them open, and they sterilize them. And then they put them back out with a big tag and 4 months worth of antibiotics in their system. There were a lot of hunters there, and it was like, are you kidding me? You know, what happens if the tag comes out and somebody shoots that deer? And then the interesting thing is they really didn't know what the long-term effect was going to be. You know, obviously these deer are going to live longer because they're sterilized, so they're not having young. So they're going to take less to stay strong, and then the question I brought up: are they going to get a cancer? Are they going to get an illness that's going to pass throughout the herd? You know, so along with the good, you get some of the bad. But those were some of the things that we spent 8 hours looking at. The Ohio Division of Wildlife typically will let these people do what they want as long as they're not paying for it. So it was an interesting seminar. Rather than at the end tonight, I'll tell you now that deer season youth this week, it was this weekend. Last weekend. It was a nasty weekend, but a lot of kids got deer. This coming Monday, a week from tonight, is the first day of deer season in Patasklan in Ohio. For gun. So there will be a lot of hunters out there. I would suggest that if you're going to walk, you probably should wear some orange, because orange stands out so far away you can't believe it. It's just so far away. I don't believe we ever have very much problem with it with deer seasons. Some people trespass, and either the chief or the Division of Wildlife takes care of that. But in general, it's a good time for everybody in the area, and I'm proud of the Patasklan and the way that they've been able to control their deer herd and all the problems that we've had. I think last year 12 deer hit on the road, and you see deer everywhere in Patasklan. You see them all over the place. So that's some of these communities have hundreds of deer hit, and that is the ag report. I would like to mention that Scott, we have been working on an update, and I guess that's probably with your zoning map and the update on the hunter edge or the discharge area. Mm-hmm. Is that still online with that same?
Yes. From my understanding, Zach has wrapped that up, and we've identified parcels due to the situation and past practice that probably need to be shifted from non-discharge to discharge, or discharge to non-discharge. So the next agricultural committee, whenever that is, we'd be happy to present that, and we can take it.
Okay. All right. And that's all I had.
Any other committee chair reports? Mrs. Carter.
We had a development committee meeting tonight prior to council. We discussed a number of things. There's a discussion of a potential annexation and development off of Dixon Road, south of Morse, north of Havens Corners. Is that what? On the west side. It basically wanting to annex into Pataskla because we don't have the same density requirements as Gahanna does. But the strain would come on the Gahanna system as far as schools and Jefferson Township water and whatnot. So we'll have more information about that as it comes along. We had a brief touch on the compensation agreement comparison for the different school districts and what they currently have with other municipalities and what goes on there. So kind of looking to see where their compensation agreements stand and where we think we can get ours to work into that and trying to find the common ground. I'm going to let BJ give the update on the AEP development, but we had a review of the planning and zoning projects, and when we started this at the beginning of the year, we asked Scott to provide us an outline of all the projects he had and how much time he thought it would take him to complete them, and I think we shared that information back earlier in the year, and he did spend a great deal of time putting that together for us. And it kind of, well, it did show the justification for another position in your department. So what we've asked him to do is kind of, now that he has that person in the department, to go back and update the timeline for each of the projects and give us an idea of when things look like they can be completed, prioritize, and that sort of thing, and then bring it back to council when he has it. And that's all I have.
Any other committee chair reports?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We had a Utilities Committee meeting on November 16th, which was last Wednesday. We had a fairly full agenda. We discussed options that are possibly available as it pertains to Scotland Ridge, which we're talking about water options mostly at this time. The Director of Utilities is going to keep an open dialogue with the district. When I say that dialogue, we discussed options including a new idea that possibly involves the city providing water to that subdivision. This would be a phase 2. The city already provides water to phase 1. We discussed options like the city going ahead and offering to possibly do that, collecting tap fees and kind of breaking it into thirds, if you would. And possibly seeing how, if the district makes it to that point, by a certain date, they would receive some of those tap fees. It would be held in escrow. Let me stop right here and invite Andy and Mike to please feel free to jump in, and Nathan as well, because I always run my committee reports that way. So, anyways, we left with the understanding that Nathan is going to continue to have that discussion with the Southwest Licking Sewer and Water, or his counterparts there. We discussed that it would also be a good time, possibly in conjunction with that, to revisit the shell of a contract that exists between the two entities at this time. It's been a couple of months since the arbitrator's decision, and I think that we all feel that that's a large part of that contract was negated or done away with by the arbitrator's decision. So I think Nathan is going to continue to do that. We had a utility rate review, which we are required to do by the charter. As a result of that, I think the recommendation, at least at this time, although there was no formal vote taken of the utility committee, is we don't anticipate any immediate raising of the rates. However, Nathan is looking into a couple of different options and getting back to the committee with some more information. Possibly it would take, we may look at raising tap fees in certain situations. The other thing that we discussed was the concept of assessing tax fees for nonprofits. And when I say assessing, meaning that instead of paying a lump sum up front, a nonprofit could possibly apply to the city and have their tap fee paid over a length of time. A good example of this might be a church who has a tap fee. We're not talking about lowering tap fees or abolishing tap fees for those entities. However, it may be an opportunity for, I think, pretty rare circumstances, but circumstances nonetheless, that they can then pay their tap fee over time. If you happen to be a church and you were going and to get a tap fee, instead of paying a massive amount when you got your plan approval, or your permit would be a better way to put it, you might have the opportunity to save that money and, who knows, perhaps put it into a secondary part of your construction or something like that. So let me finish that thought real quick, Mike. The administration is looking into getting the utility committee basically a list of requirements if we would do that. And of course, in each of those instances, whether the council approves that possibility or not, I believe that each individual case would come before council. Is that correct? Or so, Mr. Fox?
Yeah, and by assessment, we mean that they'll be able to put those on their taxes.
Yes.
So they'll basically pay through their taxes, just as if we came through and did an assessment for sidewalks in down one of the roads. And they'd have an option of either paying it up front or paying it over a term of 7 years, 20 years, whatever the county has available at the time to do it. So that's the purpose of that.
Good idea.
Nathan, anything to add to that? I have one last thing, but I don't know if Andy, are you good? Okay.
That's exactly right.
Okay. And finally, I'd like to formally, in an open council setting, offer congratulations on a couple of key issues that were brought up in that utility committee meeting. The first one is that Ryan Brown, congratulations to him for getting his wastewater operation 3 certification. And I think that's a great accomplishment, and I'd like to offer my congratulations to him. The second one is, for the first time in a long, long time, longer certainly than I've been here, I think, we have a 0 outstanding balance in our utility billing. So that goes specifically to that section of our utility department that collects those. It talks that in my mind says that's great customer service. Stephen Crane, who's up front there behind the giant pane of glass where people pay their bills, that means that he is working with those people whether they can't pay it or to get it paid. He's also notifying people when a bill is delinquent. And so far as I know, I haven't heard anybody complain that, the city called because I owed them $56 or whatever. 0 outstanding balance in a utility billing to me is something that kudos should be given to Mr. Crane and Stephanie, all right? And that would be the end of my utility report.
I actually stopped by and told Steve too. That's amazing to think how many people you would have and not have one person. Everybody's taking. That's just mind-boggling. So I congratulated him also, because that's fabulous. Somebody's taking sincere interest in giving 10,000% of their job. That's amazing. So, any other committee chair reports? All right, moving on. Resolution 2016-059. A resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an employment agreement with Benjamin J. King to continue serving as city administrator.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Barstow, seconded by Mr. Fox. Any discussion? And roll, please.
Walther,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 2016-060, a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an employment agreement with James Nicholson to continue serving as finance director.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Barstow and seconded by Mr. Fox. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Mr. Nicholson, when you came to the city 4 years ago, 5, I wasn't a big supporter. There's been ups, there's been downs, but recently I have to tell you it's been up, and it looks good. Making some of the decisions that some of us have to make a whole lot easier. But thank you.
And Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would echo those comments.
Very
Very
good.
much so.
Mrs. Carter, you want to echo those also?
Yes. And I'd like to say too, Jamie, that, earlier this year I would not have been in the same place, but I appreciate the efforts that you've made and some of the things we didn't know we were doing on our side as well to contribute to a better relationship and communication. So things are going very well. I hope to see this continue.
And it was a learning process. We hadn't done evaluations and, so some of it was on us, but you've done a very good job. And of course, with the budget tonight, I've already recognized you on that. So his head can fit out the door tonight, let's go ahead and vote. Roll, please.
Carter,
Yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Congratulations, gentlemen. All right, Resolution 2016-061, a resolution authorizing and directing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, for bridge inspection services.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Fox.
Second.
Seconded by Andy Walther. Discussion and roll.
Fox,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Barstow,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes. On to the other, I just want to, before we jump into what we amended the agenda for, periodically we see on here, on some of our agendas, these permits for liquor, and if there's no discussion, if there's no questions or problems with it, then we just go on, so.
Correct. You don't need to do anything if there's
Don't
no
need to
concern.
do anything.
Just have a question.
Yeah, I do too, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah, and this is Buster's transferring their liquor license from them to the gentleman that
Okay.
bought the store.
Okay.
That's what I thought. That's my
Okay.
question.
Okay, I wanted to make sure.
It's just a transfer. Okay.
Very good, just a transfer, okay? Okay, on to our application process for the Southwest Licking Sewer and Water. How do you want to proceed with that, Mrs. Carter?
Well, we're in a unique situation this evening. So just gonna kind of roll with it. Not exactly sure what the procedure should be, but as you all have on your desk, Mr. Fox has submitted a letter to council. And Mr. Fox, if you would like to just go ahead and I'll let you put that in your own words.
I will. Fellow council members, Mayor Compton, Brian Zetz, BJ King, Kathy Hodgkinson. After discussions with my family, community members, law director, and supporters, I've decided that my efforts can best be served by resigning my 3rd Ward council seat. This resignation is conditioned upon Pataskala City Council appointing me to the Lima Township seat of Board of Trustees of the Southwest Licking Sewer and Water District by the end of 2016. If it's okay, I'd like to continue and read the whole thing. Since inception of the city and before, the entities have had a rocky past between the city of Pataskala and the Southwest Licking Sewer and Water District. It's time for this to end. Last year alone, the city and the Sewer and Water District, Southwest Licking Sewer and Water District, expended close to $150,000 in arbitration fees. Those fees came from Pataskala Water and Sewer and Southwest Licking Sewer and Water District customers. As a watchdog of funds of Pataskala City Council, I believe working with both entities, we can better serve our city residents and Western Licking County. I'm disappointed that a 2012 legislative action that permits elected officials to sit on the board and a 1984 Attorney General opinion are apparently in conflict. At this time, per the city's legal counsel, such an appointment is not permitted. I believe that this would allow for the best in communication between the two entities. That being said, I have a great relationship with the present administration and will do my best to facilitate communication between both entities. Since we only have 2 additional meetings left this year, I'd like to make the effective date as of December 31st, 2016. The conflict that Southwest Licking has 3 more meetings left in 2016 alone. I'd be willing to abstain from voting in council at the last 2 meetings if appointed and permitted to participate in the Southwest Licking Sewer and Water District meetings. I have a few things unfinished I'd like to continue to work on with the Ag Committee until the end of 2016. Thanks for your consideration. I'd like to clarify that third part. I have not had the opportunity to run that past the law director, so I would certainly say that that is a decision probably best opinioned on by the law director, whether that's permitted to do or not. So,
Well, and that's, we have a couple of things we need to clarify. And this is where confusion comes in. Mr. Fox had put in his application, so he technically met the line for the application, the deadline for the application. Withdrew his name once he found that it would be a conflict with council, so he was not interviewed. We interviewed 3 other applicants where there was some questions regarding the county work that might, for Rob, as far as that is concerned. And also that Mr. Fox interviewed those applicants, which may only be odd to me. But it's just, what we need to know is with the third point, where do we stand in this process? Do we then go ahead and interview Mr. Fox as we would have if he had done it last week? And can he stay on council till the end of December this year and abstain from votes?
That's a lot of questions in
I
one long
know,
sentence.
I'm making
I was
you
just
earn it
counting
tonight,
those.
man.
That was a lot of questions.
And your contract's the only one we haven't reviewed yet.
Duly noted, by the way.
Give it your best shot.
I did work hard on all those other ones for everybody.
We're waiting until you got those done.
I think with respect to, I've been thinking about this since I saw the letter here that was passed out at the beginning of the council meeting. I do not think it's possible to have a effective date later in the year. I think because if the conflict really is that the city can't appoint one of its own to the board, I think you could accept the resignation as being conditioned on the appointment, but I think it would have to be effective immediately because technically then you would be still serving on both because you'd still be here but been appointed to there, and I think that could potentially pose a problem. So I think there would have to be and again, abstaining actually doesn't cure any defect, because remember, abstaining actually means you just don't participate, but your vote counts with the majority. So technically, you're really saying I'm abstaining, but you're really doing something. As to before, when we had issues, people were recusing themselves. You're actually pulling yourself from the conversation. So I think you'd have to actually I think you'd have to make the complete transition. I did take a look at the council rules and the charter. I don't think there's anything that prevents council from saying that they will accept the resignation on the condition that the appointment is made. I mean, I see those two that would be happening simultaneously, so I don't think there'd be a conflict for Mr. Fox if he were to resign under that condition and then he be appointed. With respect to how you go about interviewing them, kind of in uncharted, really ungoverned territory, I think if council really wanted to, I guess you could officially accept his resignation upon that and interview him and then make the decision, because if he's not going to be appointed to that position, he's not going to be resigning. So I guess under the auspice of he's tendered his resignation under that condition, you could probably interview him under that condition, and then, assuming you choose to appoint him, he comes off council and becomes part of the Southwest Licking Water and Sewer District. Did that answer them all?
I think so. I have another one, though.
Well, we got to, okay. Go ahead.
Would we need to first make the motion to accept the letter upon, if he were the selected applicant? Or do we interview him and then make the motion to accept the letter?
No, I would make the motion to accept the resignation on the condition that he be appointed, because under that scenario, he's not going to come off council unless he's truly appointed. So
Right.
I think you can then interview him while he's in this interim period.
Okay.
In between the two.
And that being said, I will strike the last paragraph, and I will change I guess I don't need to change anything by the end of 2016 because if I get the appointment, it will be immediately altered. So, is there anything else that needs changed in that?
Right. I would entertain a motion to accept Mr. Fox's resignation contingent upon his appointment to the Southwest Licking Sewer and Water District Board.
I'll make that motion. You second?
I just would go straight for the second.
Andy.
First. I get so excited about
So
it.
is Andy
I
and
just
then
always
Susan.
second it. I'll get it in 2017.
So now that we, I guess Kathy has to take a roll on that first.
Mr.
I'll give
Zets,
it a third.
Yes, sir.
do I need to recuse or abstain?
I recuse yourself from that.
Hayes,
Yes.
Barstow,
This is on the motion to accept Mr. Fox's resignation.
Contingent.
resignation.
Contingent.
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Carter,
No.
Fox,
Recuse myself.
Motion passes. So now, is it council's pleasure to interview Mr. Fox at the podium? Is that how we'd like to go about this? All right, sir. We can just kind of, as we did
Name
before.
and address. Name and address.
Name and address, please.
Mike Fox, 11540 Broad Street Southwest, Pataskala, Ohio.
Mr. Barstow, would you like to start with the questions if you have any?
Sure, I do. Why would you want to give up all this to be on the Southwest Licking Community Water and Sewer District Board?
Well, we'll start back in 1996.
Oh, boy.
I mean, there has been a constant turmoil between the actions of the Sewer and Water District and this community prior to our merger with Etna Township. In fact, I was part of Etna Township, or Lima Township. And since then, I believe that the residents in the city of Pataskala part, the old Lima Township, are under a very huge log that doesn't seem to be getting any better. The debt reduction fees are still on. The rates are the highest in Central Ohio. Tap fees are very high. And I believe the tap fees affect growth in our city as well as Western Licking County. That being said, you're on council, and Tim's on council, and Mel's on council, and Tom's on council, and Andy's on council, and Mrs. Hayes is new, but she's on council.
I second that.
And
Sorry.
there you go. And quite honestly, although we battle a lot and we buck and kick, I think that for the most part, people are being very reasonable on council now, as opposed to not voting for something because they didn't like the person that brought it up or that type of thing. And that makes for a good council. We have a mayor that I butt heads with often too, but no offense to Mayor, offense to Mayor Butcher. Mike is 3,000% different than what Mayor Butcher was. Things are looking good, in my view, for the city. And I think that I can better serve the residents and my residents in Ward 3 that are on the Sewer and Water District, and in fact, the rest of the residents throughout the entire community by being on the Sewer and Water District.
Thank you, Madam President. That's all I have.
Mr. Higgin?
Mr. Fox, could you tell me one thing that you would focus on? What is the single greatest thing, if you had to pick one? Some of that is there's conflict, and some of that is, I guess rates you spoke about, but
I would center on saving the customers, because they're not taxpayers. They are, but they're customers when we talk this, funds. I would hope that we would not go forward with a $4 million expansion of a water line when there's already water existing on that property that could be had that would cost the developer and ultimately our residents that are customers of the sewer and water district less money. And that would probably be one of the first things that I would look into to see what direction it is, what location it is at this particular time, whether it's been committed to or whether it hasn't been, and to see if there's a way to, if we're going to spend $4 million, let's pay that down on debt and get rid of some of that debt.
Thank you.
Mr. Fox, this puts me in a crazy position. I have long complained about the rates on the west side of town. My entire ward is served by Southwest Licking Sewer and Water, with the exception of those who are on a septic system. I believe that I've been deeply disappointed in the last year with the board and the things that we've gone through. And I think, we've all kind of unanimously agreed on those things. My concern is that while you are probably the most fiscally conservative person on the council, you also have the tendency, more often than not, to lose your temper and then discuss it and come back and everything's okay. With as contentious as the relationship's been with that board, and knowing how strongly you react to things with your passion, how will you go in there and build that relationship and make it work rather than everybody just coming to a loggerheads, not going anywhere?
I would say that at least one of those board members is probably just as conservative as I am. And I think that's probably the best answer I can give you, is that I believe he is as conservative as I am on spending funds. So,
Okay.
without mentioning a name.
But with the still building the relationship, because they were on the opposite side of it than we were, how do you think you can do that?
Just by working with them on positive things to get us past the point. The positive thing is did anybody bring up in that board meeting that they were spending $4 million of people's money, and they were borrowing it and putting more debt on it. I think common sense plays a lot of what happens, but for some reason we just haven't had that. Nothing against the previous board member that was on, but from all the way from Larry Mead back, we haven't had cooperation. And I think that by cooperating with the city and with the new director that I've had a few discussions with Nate, I think he's a lot more reasonable than other directors. I think that it's going to be a positive time for everybody involved.
Okay, thank you. Tommy?
My questions were already answered, so I will pass. Thank you.
I asked this previously to the other candidates. From your perspective, what can the city do to work with the district? If you're on the other side of the table, if you're on the district side of the table, what are you expecting from the city?
Common sense. Common sense.
Okay,
And
so
I
that's
think it's flat.
okay. So that's kind of that's a big answer.
Quick answer.
To common sense. So there are definitely ideas that the city has, and definitely ideas the district has. And when those differ, what can the city do to help bridge that gap?
Well, the first thing that has to happen is better communication. And on this board too, on this council too. We never got to have that meeting, but that's what I wanted to say. But that's what needs to happen, is better communication. And I think by enhancing the communication at the director level, which I believe Nate is already in a process of doing, and BJ has been handling that too, between the two of them. I think that if we get better communication between that, then the board members are gonna, a lot of times we go with that man sitting right there. And a lot of times the board, I believe boards should go with who they have that they trust, that they put up there to do it. Not all the time, because BJ, we just agreed too. So, but that being said, I think that, if we get a good relationship with our directors, and they're the people that know the nuts and the bolts. They know how they operate. They know that the city could, or that the sewer and water district could tap into a line here and end up here. They're the people that do that, and those are the people that you have to trust. And I think with the primary goal of always doing what's right for the customers and what is most cost effective.
Okay, followed. So, in my opinion, we have a council that's working well together, but at the same time, you bring a lot of experience to the council. Sometimes, as we've talked about, sometimes in a abrasive way, but still very good points and very good discussions on this. How do you feel? Obviously, we're going to, if the resignation were to happen and you were to go on to the district, how do you feel about this council as far as the combined knowledge, the history that it would have, and where it would lack while it's looking for a replacement for you?
Well, I'm not sure that I won't be here on Monday nights anyway.
Okay. Well, I understand.
I'm not sure how many council meetings I've missed since 2000 when I went on council. I spent 9 years on council. When I wasn't on council, I was here most of the time and being involved. So I'm not going away. I mean, I'm hopefully enhancing our ability between the city and the sewer and water district to make actually all of Western Licking County a better place. I mean, I can tell you that in talking to some of the developers that their decision to place developments does sometime boil right down to the tap fees that they pay. And that's bad for Southwest Licking Sewer and Water District. And if it's bad for Southwest Licking Sewer and Water District, it's bad for the customers that reside in the city of Pataskla. And I think that by paying debt off and by working with the entities that we have to work with throughout the whole area, we can make a better sewer and water district, which is going to enhance our citizens in the city of Pataskla. It's going to make it better on us. Are we going to see rates go down tomorrow? I'm sure we're not. I've looked at some of the numbers. The rates are probably where they're at because of some of the direction that they've taken and some of their expansion. So those are some things that are going to be hard to work on. And I think the whole concept of expansion needs to be underlined for the whole Southwest Licking Sewer and Water District. We kind of contain ourselves. Sewer and Water District doesn't work that way. They have to continue to expand, although I'm not sure that they do have to expand that way as much as expanding in the areas that are necessary and working with the developers, because once they get more money from tap fees, then they can continue to move on too.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question. First of all, I'd like to know how you're going to use your knowledge of the city, because it's an impressive knowledge that you have, and your impressive passion for this committee to communicate better with the residents. Because that's something that, I mean, you're saying common sense approach, which I totally appreciate, and very logical. And one of the things that the residents, they love to know what you're thinking. So how can you use what you're good at here to kind of capitalize on that if you're selected for this committee? How
Well,
could you
I think just as our board does, our sewer and water does here in the city, you've got to get an open line of communication with all those residents. I'm not sure that there's a positive open line of communication. Melissa can tell us right now that there's not. That, you know, she called how many times and you're not our customer. Yeah, we are. No, you're not our customer. So I think just by enhancing that and making it a priority, I don't believe it's been a priority. We're done. That's my view of it. I may be wrong, but I believe they're done on the western side of Licking County until more development comes in. The city of Pataskala has not pushed any kind of development on the western side. We've got a pretty big, full plate out there as it is, just with places that could still be built. They haven't been built. So build out isn't out there. I'm not sure this council would particularly wants to move and add 500 more houses out there or 1,000 more houses. So I think it all boils down to making it a priority so that these residents can get the information that they need. You know, one of the things that happens, you know, some of their fee structures that they have, $100 to turn a water line back on once it's been turned off. The city of Pataskala is $35. That's a big difference. I think one of the first things I'd like to work on, besides some of the expansion that we're doing, is a comparison between our rates and their rates, which we've done. I can ask Nate, and I think Nate can bring it right up for us. I don't know if they can, but I know Nate can. And I think that's something that's important for our people in Old Lima Township. Because that's, $100 is a pretty big chunk when you just got your water turned off because you couldn't afford it.
Thank you.
So, anybody else?
Any follow-up questions for Mr. Fox? Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Can I sit up here?
I guess.
Then we decide.
Don't know. So I guess the next step is we, at the last meeting, Mr. Brush had been nominated and seconded. We were waiting on information from Mr. Platt regarding his new position and whether that would be a conflict with the board. Is that something that can you give us the lowdown on that?
The lowdown is that it is not a conflict.
It is not.
That I had actually talked with Ken Oswald's office about it, and they came to their own independent conclusion that it was not a conflict, and that's the same conclusion I and my office had. So there's not an issue with the council if they were to appoint him to that position.
So at this point, I guess we need to take a roll on the appointment of Mr. Brush, since that was already put out there.
Well, I think we did.
Point of order.
Point of order.
Because we did that. That was defeated, I think, 3-4.
Was it, I apologize.
I believe.
Okay.
It
was defeated.
It was
Okay.
defeated. Yes, what I thought.
There was discussion of how that could be brought up again if council so desired, but it was defeated at the
Okay,
last.
thank you. I see, okay. So I would entertain any motions for an appointment to the board, the Southwest Licking Sewer and Water Board.
I will, and I don't know if I can do this under the rules, because I already had a motion that was defeated. I think it was for a different person. I know I can't bring the same person up, is it?
Right, that was
Okay,
dead. I
okay,
think
I
you're
want to make
fine.
sure, okay. I nominate Mr. Fox for the appointment.
I'm going to second that.
Okay. Do we, discussion or roll first? Discussion. Anybody having discussion on that before we vote? Mr. Hicken?
Well, ever since we first became aware as to Mike's interest in this, I've kind of swayed back and forth on it. Said I would listen to his answers here tonight. There are goods. I think there are good aspects to it, and I think there are questionable aspects to it. However, and I guess we'll know in a second how I'm going to vote. But I just want, it's not necessarily an easy decision, and it's not just not an easy decision because of Mike's bombast and sometimes how he acts up here. Andy brought up a great point, which is institutional knowledge, and that is incredibly important as well and should not be discounted. And I think that's good enough for me.
Any other discussion?
I do want to say something. I felt like your interview was impressive. I just can feel that you're passionate about it, and it's something that you want to make a change in. So I appreciate it. And I can tell that you love this community, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. President? Madam President? Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like Ms. Hayes does. I mean, there's no doubt that Mr. Fox is passionate about the things he believes in, and has knowledge and about the community. He's lived here many, many years, and I think understands a lot of how, especially the relationship between the city and the water and sewer district. My hope is that he would, if he's appointed, that he would, to the extent that he's able and the extent that's permissible, would use the resources here at the city for assistance and things like that. And I think he would. I know that he has a good relationship with our utility department, and that he could use them as a good resource to assist the water and sewer district with any issues that they have. And that's the hope that I would do that. And my hope is that if he is appointed, would be that he would be passionate, more passionate than bombastic, and would try to build bridges with the water and sewer district and hopefully improve their situation. I'm not a customer of theirs, but that would be my hope. And certainly many of my constituents here in the city are. And I know it's a real concern. So that's just my hope. Thank you.
I'll just add my own to that. I feel like, I mean, I've expressed my disappointment in the district before when it comes to customer service rates. I mean, you're really held hostage. And I have had constituents, Mr. Fox brought up the point of, $100 fee to turn on your water when you're already too broke to pay your bill. It's a poverty tax. It's ridiculous. The communication, I mean, there's just a number of things that have been very frustrating, and I've lived over there for 11 years. I think that Mr. Fox, all the the things that he does to be a pain in my ass on this council could come in handy on the water district. I'm just saying. I know.
Paying her dollar.
Right.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Mrs. Hayes is paying her dollar.
Hayes?
I paid her dollar. She's
It's
covered.
actually $100.
Oh, is it? Well, you said one too, so it's 50 cents each.
There we go.
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Okay. On the flip side of that, we also have Mr. Platt, who gave a very impressive interview, who's somebody who I think would do a fine job. We have Mr. Mead, who has done a fine job. We, rough waters this past year, but he has always been a community member who gives, and that his record shows that. And so I would just keep all of those things in mind when you make your decision.
And technically, Mr. Brush, whose name is...
And Mr. Brush, but he was already denied. And yes, and obviously, Mr. Brush has, as an applicant, an immense amount of knowledge to give, which I feel like we are still, we're still lucky enough to get we bear the fruits. We get that benefit here with him. So, all right, Kathy, if you want to go ahead and take the roll for the appointment of Mr. Fox.
Barstow,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Fox,
Recuse myself.
Hayes.
Yes.
Motion passes. You can have the shusher.
Okay, on to additional citizens' comments. Anybody who wish to speak? Okay, seeing none, we'll go, we don't have an executive session tonight, so we'll go roundy round, and we'll start with Suzanne, please. Anything for the good of the city?
Starting the new story walk. So getting that underway with the kids, and the old one comes down soon. We had nice weather, so we kept it up longer. A lot of people still taking walks down at the park. So I'm working with the art teacher, and we're brainstorming. We're gonna do the theme's gonna be a walk in the park, basically, and it's gonna be an art theme this year. So we're gonna have artwork all the way through the park with different styles of art and different artists. So as you take a walk with your family, you'll see artwork by kids of different artists. So it'll be fun.
That's all you have?
It is. That's all I have right now.
The bell ringing, would you bring me up to date again on the date of that? The school bell ringing?
I have no idea. When I find out, I can go ask.
Okay,
I've not
good.
heard a word about it.
Okay. I've heard it's close, and they're gonna have a bell ringing day.
Maybe
and
it's a secret from me. Because I might want to ring it. So, no, I'll find out.
Okay, very good. Mr. Walther?
I have couple different thoughts. One, I want to thank Mr. Fox for his time and effort on all the issues here on council. I know that he's put in a ton of hours on every issue that we've had to deal with this year. That at least I've been here on council, and prior to that, when I would attend the meetings. So, I want to tell him thanks for that. Secondly, I do want to reiterate that getting back with the school districts, I think, has got to be a number one priority for 2017, if not yet in 2016, to get these agreements moving along. So, and then again, congratulations, Jamie, and to all the directors for putting together the budget. We've got a lot of things ahead of us in 2017, and working hard to put a budget together that is reasonable and not wasteful is something that we're all striving for. I know the directors do it, and so do we up here on council. So appreciate all your help and work.
Mr. Lee?
Yeah, I have a couple things. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Mead and Mr. Platt for their interview, their interest in the job. And Mr. Mead, I thank you for your service for the past few years on the Water and Sewer District, and also Mr. Brush. I know he's not here, but I want to thank him as well because he's done a lot for the community. Mr. Fox, I want to thank you as well for your time spent on council, what you've done for this community, and I've enjoyed hearing your knowledge. I've enjoyed bantering with you. I've enjoyed our disagreements, and I hope that you continue to pick up the phone and call me, and whether it's good or bad, I want to hear your side of things. So I think there's a lot to be said for your time and knowledge and the commitment you've made to the city overall. So thank you. I want to congratulate BJ and Jamie on their new contracts. Well done. Good work. And also want to thank everybody for getting the budget done. That's a huge task. BJ and Jamie, well done. I know you guys kind of led it, but I know it took everybody in this room, department head wise and council, to get it done this early. And I guess it's the new standard for me because it's my first year on council. So maybe we bump it up a little bit next year.
I'm already thinking that, Tommy.
August.
I'm already thinking that. I haven't shared that with anybody, but
First budget meeting is tomorrow.
And I'll kind of echo Mr. Walther's statements too. I think that the compensation agreements with the schools needs to be put on the front burner and need to get down and get working on that. So thank you to everyone, and that is it.
Well, I'd like to thank Mr. Fox for his time on council, both times. And knowing that, as he said, he's not going away, so he will be coming to the council meetings and giving his 5 minutes and his 3 minutes. Unfortunately, I won't be able to get rid of the swear jar because it's for folks in the audience also. But anyway, thank you, sir, for your time. Mrs. Carter?
Well, Mr. Fox, I don't enjoy our disagreements, and I don't want you to call me, so I'm joking. So everything that Tommy said, forget it.
Well played.
What I will say, though, is, one, of course, thank you for the dedication to the city. You're obviously very dedicated and passionate about the community, and your perspective and knowledge has made me stop and question my thoughts and ways I thought I was going to vote on things, even up till about, 7 minutes ago. So I appreciate that. It's good to have another side and to challenge what you think. So thank you. Mr. Mead, thank you so much for your service to the district and to the city. And don't go far, because I'm sure there's going to be something else we need your help with. Outside of that, just congratulations, guys. I'm glad you're sticking around. Things are going really well. And she left already, but Emily Hale for the picture, I just was really excited about that. So I've been wiggly about that for a week, wanting her to come in here and present that. And she's a great kid, so it's nice to see them do things like that. And that's all I have.
Before we go any further,
Tim.
hang on, Tim and Todd, please. This is important. We need to probably have a short discussion now that Mr. Fox has resigned on our step to replace somebody on council. What is our procedure, please, Mr. Zatz?
I think council it's never a good meeting if I talk a lot, by the way. Council has 60 days to name a replacement, and then if that doesn't happen, then the mayor appoints. And that's so. You can get applicants, interview, but then eventually it'll be someone on the council will have to make a motion to appoint.
Brett, Kathy to post it.
Yeah, I think council needs to decide to go ahead and direct the administration, Kathy, whoever, we'll work together, but to advertise for it. And then we can schedule interviews at some point, so.
Make a motion, or is that a?
Tim can do that.
Yeah, that's coming up. So.
Okay. All right, we know the direction to go in. Mr. Hicken.
Well, to follow up on that thought, when you look at typically how we structure our council meetings and when applicants would be asked for that seat and when we would typically interview them, I'm almost just in my brain, I'm kind of thinking that either we could make that motion at the December meeting with a December 31st deadline so that we would have all the applicants here for the first meeting of January. I don't know. I'm happy to make a motion. In fact, I guess I'll take that back. I'll make a motion that we direct the administration to begin the process of posting the open vacancy. I guess I have the floor. I'm not allowed. Sorry, Mike. That's got to hurt right after being out there, huh?
Okay, we have a motion. We need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Barstow. Discussion.
I think we just make it an application deadline, put out our usual
Thank you.
Facebook, city website, our usual postings, and make the deadline, December 31st? Is that, yeah, it gives people almost 6 weeks. And then we'd be ready to go after we organize in January.
Yeah, we'd have our
And then we can-
organizational meeting and then go into a regular meeting and appoint
Yeah.
somebody, correct?
Yeah.
We'd interview and appoint.
Right. You'll have basically 60 days from today. So if you need one more meeting, you
Yeah.
could always do that in January as well.
Right. Kathy's got a point. That's something she wanted to let us know.
No, it's been
Is that good? Okay.
Okay, so we have-
31st is a Saturday.
Yeah. Okay, well then the 30th. Then the 30th.
30th.
Is that just the 30th?
At midnight or whatever.
Yeah.
Make it 5 o'clock so they can deliver them if they
5
have to.
o'clock, yeah.
Midnight, they might be dropping them at the door.
5
That
p.m.
type of a deadline, it's going to be difficult to get it in your packet because your packet will go out the Wednesday before that.
Packet will go out the 28th.
Yes.
That should be the deadline.
Well, but you can still, we can still have those emailed to us, right? We could still see them and have them before the council meeting, so I don't think it's necessarily,
I think in the past also, we can get them as they stream in.
yes. I think we have to have them by the council
they do.
packet deadline.
Is that a firm deadline on the 30th? Because we've been discussing firm deadlines.
Yes.
Are we adhering to the deadline?
But you had a suggestion about 5 PM, so they're not,
Right, you would probably want them in the building by the close of a business day.
Well, tentatively, organizational meeting is January the 3rd.
Right.
So,
Is the building is open on the 30th?
Yes.
Okay, so if an employee were to be on vacation, somebody would be here too.
So the 30th it is?
Monday,
30th at 5 o'clock? 4 o'clock? 4 o'clock, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, we can certainly
Nobody has
place
to
them
stay
on
here
the
till 5.
council packet website and everything, so
so
email
since,
them out.
since New Year's Day falls on Sunday, right?
Monday is the holiday.
Monday's the
Monday is
holiday. Yep.
okay. So the
Not
third,
Friday.
the Tuesday, the 3rd would be our first meeting, organization, and then into regular business, so, okay.
Now, it will be necessary to stay late to do all that because we can't do anything until 4 o'clock on Friday. Just
To do all of
First
what?
day of the deadline, that gives you Friday to work on it?
To
scan
copy them and
the-
send them to us and
scan the-
everything?
Scan the applications in, put them on the website, send them out to
I
council.
personally believe, I think BJ's suggestion of Wednesday is fine. You're more than 5 weeks of notice, so.
Which is more than I think we've ever
2
done.
days are not gonna make any, we're here, we can get into council packet. Noon on that Wednesday seems to be.
28th?
seems
Wednesday,
to
the
be reasonable.
28th at noon. Does that help, Kathy?
That seems to be
Yes.
reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's
good.
If you don't know by then,
Yeah.
I can be doing it.
Okay. Works for me.
So,
Noon on the
you
28th.
made the motion, and you seconded it, and
We
we've
need a
had the
roll.
discussion. Any other discussion? Okay, Kathy, roll, please.
Lee,
Yes.
Hicken,
Yes.
Walther,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Fox. Oh, excuse me. Hayes,
Kathy?
Take a minute for that, Kathy.
I said
Good job,
excuse
Kathy.
me. Hayes,
Yes.
Barstow.
Yes.
Motion passes. Anything else, Tim?
Yeah, continuing on with the comments, I'll echo my thanks to Jamie and not only Jamie, but the department heads. Every single department head I contacted and asked questions, every single department head answered them. And I'm very grateful that in this, that's as I understand it, is it's a little bit of a change from possibly how it may have happened in the past. So I'm very grateful for that. And I love the fact that we're finishing a budget. For those people that don't know, when I was thinking about running, I was here in December watching and I mean late December, like it was either come here or go shopping because I'm a procrastinator, and watching council bat ideas back and forth at a massive meeting
Because we weren't done.
because they were not done. So I kind of call that the Barstow accelerated method, but huge kudos to the financial department and Mr. King, of course, for making that happen. I wanted to say a little bit of a little thank you. It goes with the congratulations to Jamie and BJ, but it's a thank you to the mayor, Mr. Zetz, for working on the contracts and the work that you put in. I appreciate the work that you guys put in above and beyond. Mrs. Carter, I offer my sincere gratitude to Larry Mead for the time that he served the city out there and for his dedication. I thank him very much for that. And before I say happy Thanksgiving, I will say to Mr. Fox, the very first time, or the only time that I ran, I put my signs out. And an hour after I put my signs out, Mr. Fox called me and said, "Your signs are illegal."
I got that call too.
And I said, "I don't think they are." And he said, "I do." And I said, "Well, I'm going to send you what the legislature gave me." And when I did, he called me back up and said, "That must have changed. I'm sorry. They're legal." And from that time on, Mr. Fox would often call me and say, "That's illegal," or "That's improper." And I enjoyed those discussions more than most people would think. Mike, it was I said this today to somebody, that Mike balanced me oftentimes, and I used him for that. That doesn't mean we agreed a lot, but I appreciated that, and I hope that I can continue to expect those calls once in a while from him if he feels that way. I thank you very much for your 9 years of service and for the time that you dedicated to this city. I really do appreciate it. And my final thing would be Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Mr. Barstow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, Mr. Hicken, our coup is complete. We have managed to, because now with the resignation of Mr. Fox, everyone who was on council when Mr. Hicken and I got sworn in is gone.
Look at him, like evil genius.
So
If he had a mustache, he'd be twirling.
that's
I'll do it. I'll
wow.
do it for you.
I never thought that would happen. Yikes. Hey, folks on Oak Meadow. Hopefully you'll get that street's in the budget, and you got to watch the sausage get made here that we call the budget. And so I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank you for coming to all these meetings and putting up with us and going through. So we should get started next year, and you're be on your way. I hope it'll work out well. So again, congratulations to BJ and Jamie on your new contract. So welcome you for extension, and that's really great, and glad to have you. Of course. And Mr. Mead, thanks again for all the service on, city council and the board and all those things. Yes, all those things.
Lions Club.
All those things over the years. We appreciate it. Mr. Platt, thanks for coming and interviewing, and please, we always have openings, so please come back again. As you're a city resident, and please come back again, and maybe there's something else. We appreciate
Maybe you
that.
should move to Ward 3 real quickly.
So, Mike, I just didn't think I'd ever see this day come. Mike encouraged me to run for city council, and was of great assistance in campaigning, and then on council was really helped me learn the ropes, and his institutional knowledge was most appreciated, and his contact with me in discussion. We didn't always agree on things, but I always enjoyed talking to him and trying to see where we were. And I'm going to miss that. And I know that Mr. Fox is going to continue to contact me. He has all my phone numbers, and so he'll continue to contact me. And I know I'll be contacting him when I have questions and things like that. On the budget, yes, Tim, that's correct. I sat next to Mr. Hicken in December of 2013 and watched Mike Fox, and I believe it was Brian Lenzo, argue about the paving of a parking lot for quite some time. And this was December 23rd, and turns out they were talking about two different parking lots.
That's awesome.
And I remember leaning over and saying, Tim, we haven't been sworn in yet. We can still just leave right now.
Run away.
Just run away. And so I appreciate the directors taking the budget responsibility seriously. I was a real sinking feeling for me to sit in that meeting and think, oh my gosh. I mean, the budget's due in a week to the auditor, and it's not there. So you folks have really worked really hard to get that. I know it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. It's a pain in the butt. It's a lot of detail. And you've got BJ and Jamie cracking the whip. But the result is that we have a fully discussed budget. I mean, we had plenty of meetings on this. We all know what's in there and what's not in there and what we like and what we don't like on November 21st. And because the good news is, if we had needed another meeting to flesh things out, we're still only December the 5th, I think. We're still plenty of time to get things done. So there's no need to accelerate. Next year we'll get the same schedule out, and we'll be with the same result in our November or early December meeting. So, and speaking of December meetings, were we going to have a second meeting in December? Because now that Mr. Fox is gone, we don't have to worry about giving up our paychecks for the second half. So.
That's absolutely correct.
I had to get that in.
Great. And then I would have to say, but we don't get more paychecks when we have extra special
we
meetings.
have those extra budget meetings. I know.
That would have been for Dan, and you know.
I know.
He's not here.
Mr. King, do you anticipate?
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Do you anticipate any ordinances, resolutions?
The
or
second
motions?
meeting in December, no.
Okay. So at our next meeting,
we should be
looks like that'll be a wrap.
Great. That's all I have. A motion to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn and seconded by Mrs. Carter.
No, but be Mr. Hicken.
Customer.
What's that? Yes,
Yes,
you did.
you missed it.
You missed it.
And you're out of order.
He has the shusher.
Okay, I got a motion to adjourn, seconded by Mr.
Hicken.
Hicken. When you're ready, Kathy.
Hicken? Hicken?
Yes.
Walter?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Barstow?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.
Hey, Mike, can we autograph your nameplate and I'll sign it like?
Hey, I don't
However, I will remind